And for one final time, we're ready to go racing in Season 3 of Racecraft Rallycross. Both our RX2 and RX1 champions have been decided, so it is all for fun tonight. Welcome in to the virtual Atlanta Motor Speedway, and welcome to the season finale of Season 3. I'm your host, Joshua Lee. Joining me in the booth, it's not Dane Baird. I completely forgot to update our cast. It is Ian Fisher in the booth with me tonight. Dane falling sick, unfortunately, over the weekend. We wish him the best, but in finale time from Atlanta, and normally when we come into a finale like this, I mean, we're talking about points, we're talking about the championship. That's not so much here. Yes, there are some undecided points battles, but ultimately, this is just for bragging rights and to add more hardware to these drivers' arsenals.
I think that's going to lead to a fun night, though, Josh. All of these drivers have the championship pressure taken off of them. They don't have to worry about going out there and earning maximum points in each and every single LCQ or heat that they go into, or even qualifying, earning points there. So they can really just worry about running their race the way they want to run and just challenging for the win here tonight. So it should be a lot of fun.
They'll be challenging for the win at one of the most unique tracks when it comes to iRacing Rallycross. That is the virtual Atlanta Motor Speedway Rallycross configuration. It uses the infield road course that hasn't really been used in the real world, but we take use of it here in the iRacing space. And you can see that turns 1, 2, and 3 chicane, very difficult to get right on the asphalt. A joker that cuts off a banked dirt curve at turn 5 that is very difficult to get right. And it also cuts off a lot of that dirt turn 6, which makes this joker one of the fastest and one of the lowest deltas that we have in the iRacing Rallycross world.
I love this place, Josh. I think the only knock I have against it is there's not much elevation. It's a pretty flat track, but as far as testing the abilities of a rallycross driver, that section through turns 1, 2, and 3, we always see trouble there. You mentioned the high bank turn in turn number 5. I like to lovingly call that the fishbowl turn. So that's always a challenging spot for drivers to navigate. And then you mentioned the Joker Delta as well. It really challenges the Joker strategy of these drivers tonight. So we're going to see a lot of strategies playing out there, and then maybe even some close calls as far as the merge goes, Josh.
And of course, we're not going to be talking about points too much tonight, but there is still some points battles to be decided. Mainly that tie for third here at RX2 with Sean Winkler and Andrew Howell. But Tyler Campbell is well and away second place. Carson McKenna has already been crowned your RX2 champion for Season 3. So he'll be walking away with the title and joins the likes of Tor Andre Borison and Connor Berry, who have walked away with RX2 titles in the past in Seasons 1 and 2. And still some solid battles with Trevor Teal holding strong in 6th. He's only 1 point above Tom Grady in 7th. Paul Mikolajczyk in 8th as well. And they're still a little bit in striking distance to Russell Peterson, edge of the top 5.
That battle, though, between Sean Winkler and Andrew Howell for that final podium spot for the season, Josh, those should be fantastic. I would consider both of those rivals about equal talent levels. So they're really going to have to beat each other here on the racetrack tonight for that final spot. So that will definitely be a fun battle to watch tonight.
And they'll be battling, of course, across the normal configuration of events here for the Racecraft Rallycross season finale from Atlanta. Still same thing for RX2, 8x incident limit and a fixed setup, 5-lap heats, 5-lap LCQs, and then a 10-lap feature. We'll see exactly how many heats and how many people we're going to put through into the feature race from each of those heats once qualifying is over with. And 13 drivers are here tonight to put in laps, and all of them have put in laps so far. So with about less than a minute left in qualifying, we'll see when qualifying will wrap its way on up. But this track, Ian, this is not a rallycross course that has been used in the real world. And of course, we just came from the oval here at Atlanta Motor Speedway and the NASCAR Triple M Pulling Truck Series on Friday. I've connected through Atlanta a lot. I've been to this track as well for Monster Jam, never been to it for a NASCAR event, and nobody in the real world has been to it for a rallycross event. This track has a little bit of everything for everybody, whether it's virtual or real world.
And on your screen right now, you see this chute heading down in the turn 1. There's going to be a heavy braking zone right before this section, Josh. And you see those turtle curbs on either side. Very hard to go too wide through this section. So we might see some carnage there tonight. Car hitting one of those turtle curbs, going up and over. I know you and I have seen that quite a few times in our time together here.
Me and Dane have seen it plenty of times as well. We saw it in the World Championship. We saw it in the qualifying series. It's very easy to do on those turtle curbs to the inside and outside of the virtual Atlanta Motor Speedway. That's turns 1, 2, and 3, and then we cut over, of course, to the Joker lane, which is one of the fastest that you will see in iRacing Rallycross. It's time to take a look at the starting grid as we get ready for heat race number 1 of 2. 3 drivers will be put forward into the feature race. Carson McKenna, champion on the pole. Andrew Howell in second. Dario Franco, Matthew Lind with Scott Kerr, and Vincent Pichel, UFC fighter, a 14-2 record in the UFC, trying his hand at a little bit of iRacing Rallycross as he'll start P6 on the grid. And Robert Kirtley going to be the last driver on the grid, starting P7 as we get ready to go racing for heat race number 1. Of course, mentioned what we'll be racing with tonight. 2 heats, 3 advancing into each. We're only going to send 1 driver home because we're going to have 7 drivers in this heat, 6 drivers in the final heat, and then we'll send 3 from each, making 6, and we'll have 7 drivers advance to the LCQ, where we'll put 6 more through. So a lot of drivers looking for a lot of spots, but 1 driver will unfortunately be heading home at the end of this one. As we get ready to go racing, drivers take to the starting grid. And it is Carson McKenna that is on that front row, waiting on Andrew Howell now in the 666 to take to the grid, and then we will be ready and off to go. McKenna with the championship this season. It has been an almost perfect season for the 11. Can he continue it and walk away with another feature race win this season? He has 3. He looks for 4, but he's got to start in the heat race, and we're underway for heat race number 1. It's a good start already for McKenna. Going to cover off the middle line with Matthew Lynn trying to go up the middle. Now as they work their way through the dirt, way wide goes McKenna. Now to the inside, 3 wide is a Ford Fiesta. Scott Kerr tries to get through the middle. How about Vincent Pichel all the way from 6th to 2nd in the opening 2 corners?
Vince is a very fast race car driver. I know he's known for his UFC career. You mentioned his 14-2 record, but I'm excited to see what he can do, especially here in RX2. You see all the back bumper right now of Matthew Lindy. A little bit of contact there with McKenna in the first turn. Gave a little bit of a bumper there to Lindy. We'll see if that will see any dividends later in the race there, Josh.
Scott Kerr, Robert Kirtley take to the Joker early as Matthew Lindy holds that race lead currently. Kerr and Kirtley, Joker that last time by, so the 2 Ford Fiestas in the field are going to have their Joker lanes done. 4 laps to go across the start-finish line here. And now, towards the end of heat race number 1, of course, everybody going to have to take to that Joker. But at the front of this field, it's 2 Ford Fiestas that lead, which is a bit of an interesting choice to me, Ian. I wouldn't think this track would really suffice with the Ford Fiesta that much, but seems like Kerr and Kirtley might know something we don't, as a tap to the handbrake and right into the Joker goes Lind, and right to the race lead goes that Subaru.
And you mentioned the Ford Fiesta, the car choice on the track tonight. I kind of agree with you, Josh. I want the Subaru for the asphalt sections of this track, but the Ford Fiesta will help you out in the tighter section of the track, and especially in that fishbowl section, turn 6. So that's where you'll see some advantage from the Fiestas.
On board, Matthew Lind as he pulls away now. Took the Joker lane that last time by. So did Dario Franco, and so did, looks like, Carson McKenna, as McKenna is going to make a move for 3rd. Everybody Joker lane over and done except for Howell and Pichel, who has fallen back quite a bit off the pace now with no Joker. Of course, it cuts off that entire dirt curve. And this time, Pichel Jokers, where's he going to come out? Is it going to be good enough for 2nd on the drag race? And it is, but he hits the wall on the inside, and to the guardrail goes the 12 of Pichel. And into 3rd place he goes. Scott Kerr goes on by. Carson McKenna outside of the transfer spots in P4.
And that's a really good save there by Pichel. You really, again, when you're coming off that Joker, it's so easy to do, Josh, to overcook it just a little bit and hit that outside barrier, but a great job there saving it, not flipping over the barrier, keeping the car in one piece, and he's battling McKenna right now.
Carson McKenna does not want to go through the LCQ, and he dives his way to the inside as Vincent Pichel now pulling away a little bit from McKenna, but the inside line going to prevail through that dirt curve. On board now as we look up above the 11 of Carson McKenna. down the asphalt straightaway now into the final couple of corners. White flag this time by, and this is huge. Who is going to walk away with this final transfer spot? Because McKenna wants it, but Pichel's going to cover off the spot and push him to the grass.
That's a block right there. That was a very aggressive block, and you can see right now McKenna is faster, but just how hard it is to pass on this Atlanta Rallycross configuration, Josh. And you see he's going to go a little bit wide there right now, and that's going to be a slowdown for him.
McKenna gonna fall not to fourth but to fifth now, as Matthew Lind pulling away at the front is gonna walk away with this transfer spot and heat race win. Maybe not. Here comes Andrew Howell, a last lap joker, and he's gonna try and go around the outside in the 666. Lindy now covers off that spot. He's gonna be good enough to take it, and Andrew Howell will have to settle for second place. A drag race to the line, but Matthew Lind is gonna win the heat race. It's Howell and Kerr that'll go through to the feature race.
And Howell was trying to set up the crossover there, Josh. He had that out on the outside line, but had to check up just a little bit for Lindy getting loose, and that kind of stopped all of his momentum. But a great run off the Joker there for Howell.
What a heat race. We're already seeing that Joker lane strategy come into play from virtual Atlanta. And as Robert Kirtley comes across the line, we'll let you know of our full race results from that heat. Lind, Howell, Kerr all advancing into the feature race. Everybody else will have to fight out of the LCQ. Moving forward now, heat race number 2 and the final heat race of the evening as we take a look at your starting grid. And it's going to be Sean Winkler that'll start on the pole with Thomas Grady to his outside. And then back from there, Dylan Baldwin, Russell Peterson going to share the second row. Trevor Teal and Hector Sierra Jr. is going to round out that field of drivers. Heat race number 2 now on deck, and this is where it starts to get interesting. Remember, we're only taking 3 drivers through to the feature. We'll take half of this group, and then we're going to take all but 1 driver working their way out of the LCQ. But it's time for heat race number 2. And the green flag is up. We are racing for the second time tonight in RX2. And it's a good start from Sean Winkler. He'll walk away with that early lead. But Thomas Grady wants to try and take it to the off-road world championship competitor. Rallycross has not been his best effort. And he'll let Dylan Baldwin go by on the inside as Baldwin looks for the race lead on Winkler. The full pack of Subarus going to dive their way into turn 1.
And this is an important heat race for Sean Winkler. You saw that Andrew Howell set the tone there in the first heat race with his P2 finish in that battle for third in our championship. Sean Winkler's going to have to respond here, doing a great job so far.
Fighting their way now through the dirt curve as it's Trevor Teal that is going to walk away with the early Joker and the early lead. But he's got to slow down. He has to slow down to keep that spot. He will keep the lead, but now well within Joker Lane Delta as we see the pickle suit is back.
Yes, this is really, if you're watching tonight, this is all you came for, Josh.
This is all I'm here for.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for the pickle suit. But you can see the extra focus and determination the pickle suit really gives to Trevor Teal there. A momentary slip up with the slowdown, but I think he'll be all right for the rest of the night, Josh.
Hector Sierra Jr. way back in the pack, and we're used to seeing Hector Sierra Jr. a little bit further up the road, and he'll Joker lap this time. And look at that, from 6th to 2nd, and he's only about a 1.5 seconds off of Thomas Grady, who also took the Joker that last time by. Grady with a slowdown gives Sierra Jr. the race lead.
And we're seeing a lot of slowdowns here in a second heat race, Josh. I'm not exactly sure where these drivers are picking them up, but that's 2 drivers so far that have been affected by slowdowns, and now they find themselves side by side on the racetrack.
Last driver left to take to the Joker. It'll be Winkler, Baldwin, and who are on board with right now, Russell Peterson. Winner at Brands Hatch, or not winner at Brands Hatch, winner at Knockhill. I'm getting my European circuits now mixed up. Winner at Knockhill 1 week ago in RX2 in the heat race and in the feature. We saw how ecstatic he was to get his first race wins, and you can see how he's now trying to chase down Baldwin up in front. 1 driver jokered way up the road. Not sure who it was. Looked to be Sean Winkler as he'll take the race lead back with Baldwin and Peterson. Now the 2 left to not joker, and 2 laps ago this time they got to start thinking about the strategic way to do it.
Yeah, and I think the strategy is to take it as early as you possibly can, Josh. That way you can get out and get clean air in front of your car and you don't have to deal with any other cars in traffic, because that's when carnage tends to happen. But if you find yourself towards the back of the pack, you don't really have to deal with anybody, you can save that for the end. And we saw Andrew Howell almost played that strategy perfectly in the last heat race and was able to almost make the pass for the win in the final lap.
Baldwin's gonna joker with 2-2 to go, leaves Peterson alone, and Baldwin to second place. You can see the gap that Sean Winkler has put on the rest of the field, but Baldwin to second. This makes me wonder, Russell Peterson's 11 seconds back from your race leader of Winkler currently. Does Peterson have enough to fully put himself into these transfer spots? But look at the battle now between Hector Sierra Jr. and Dylan Baldwin for second place. They take the white flag, and hard on the brakes goes Baldwin, pushes Sierra wide as he had to stop on him to avoid contact.
And we see that all the time here at Atlanta, Josh. That braking zone in the turn one is so difficult. You can see it on the onboard shot right here with Russell Peterson. And it's so hard to miscalculate it, or so easy to miscalculate it, excuse me, and just run in the back of somebody like we saw there. We'll see Peterson go to the joker here now. We'll see where he ends up, Josh.
It's going to be enough. Barely pushes Grady wide into the turn. And to third place goes Peterson, Baldwin, and Winkler, the top three. It'll be yet another heat race and race 2 win for Sean Winkler. And this career for Sean Winkler had 3 heat race wins coming into tonight. Now he's got 4 in Racecraft Rallycross RX2.
Just a really good run from Winkler. We mentioned how he had to match the run from Hal in the first heat race. Not only did he match it, he bested it by 1 spot, Josh. So right now, that championship spot between him and Hal give the advantage to Sean Winkler heading into the feature.
We continue on now with our LCQ, a lone LCQ tonight. It will take 6 drivers into the feature race. So Vincent Pichel on the pole with Russell Peterson beside him. Dario Franco, Hector Sierra Jr., Carson McKenna, Trevor Teal, the top 6. And Robert Kirtley, unfortunately, going to be already starting behind the 8 ball in 7th place. He will have to try and make all of that up in race in this LCQ. And as we get ready to go racing, all 7 drivers are on the grid. And we will go racing for the 3rd time tonight in RX2. And the only LCQ we'll see tonight, green flag is up. We are racing. It's a great start on the outside from Russell Peterson. He looks for this LCQ victory, but Pichel's going to cover off the spot. And an aggressive move from the 12. He'll get pushed wide. Across the jump they go. And now side by side over the air. It'll be Russell Peterson inside, Pichel outside, side by side to turn 1.
Oh, and this is going to be tight heading into turn 1, and Pichel's just able to seal it off in the slightest bit there. I was anticipating some carnage going into that turn, Josh. Great job by both of those drivers.
Pichel going to joker early. Who joins him behind? That's Dario Franco. Carson McKenna also going to join. So top 3 all take to the joker. Russell Peterson in 4th did not, as Teal and Kirtley going to try and fight now. Look at Hector Sierra Jr. now outside of the transfer spots. P7.
P7, but hasn't jokered yet, Josh, so no need to panic right now. If you're Hector Sierra and the 7 machine, just run your race here. Try to get the spot on Kirtley if you can, going down this long straightaway. Just run the rest of your race.
But Vincent Pichel, a great run for him right now at the front of this field. Remember, top 3 have all taken to the joker lane. What's Peterson going to do? He's the first driver not to. Does he joker this time by? No, he does not. He stays on the racetrack. What about Trevor Teal? He also stays on the racetrack. Hector Sierra Jr., he's going to decide to joker here. And it's going to be enough to push him all the way up into 4th. And wide off the exit of that corner is Robert Kirtley, and he's around right in the middle of the racing line, hits the wall.
Yeah, he's going to have to hang on to it there, but I saw Kirtley kind of got loose coming off the joker there, and we've seen that happen a few times, Josh, just not able to hang on to the back end of his car. There it goes around. That's unfortunately probably going to be night over for Kirtley.
Let's see what happens to Robert Kirtley. It was at the exit of turn 6 and goes wide, hits the guardrail, and unfortunately just could not save it from there. All the bumps on the inside and pushes him wide and over into the wall. But still in the race lead, it is Vincent Pichel. Dario Franco, Carson McKenna, top 3, Hector Sierra Jr., Russell Peterson, and Trevor Teal. Now the really only drivers left in this race are going to be the 6 that advance into the feature. Of course, if nothing else happens in the final 2 laps, as down to the inside, McKenna on Franco, and gives the RX2 champion for season 3 the second place spot.
A lot of patience from McKenna there. He was stuck behind Franco for a few laps and had the faster car. Just kind of waited until Franco made a mistake on that corner there. Was able to get underneath him and make the pass.
Only 2 drivers left to take the Joker, and that's Russell Peterson and Trevor Teal. Does Peterson take it this time? Yes, he does. Where's this going to output him? It's provisionally 3rd. Is he going to grab more? He's going to go middle 3 wide in contact with McKenna. He spins McKenna into the guardrail. The Subaru, the number 11, is able to keep going, but Russell Peterson making contact off of the Joker lane. And I gotta say, Ian, I don't know where to put blame for that one. I don't know if we really can blame Russell Peterson too much. Look at the speed he's carrying out of the Joker lane.
That's just 2 guys going for the same piece of real estate right there. It's kind of a sweet 540 by Carson McKenna to get going again, though, but we'll see a really good shot from up here on the onboard cam. And you can see how hard it is as a driver to see this happening. It just happens right in front of you like this. He tries to stay off of it there. You see, Josh, the input in the wheel, just not enough at that point.
Unfortunate, of course, for Peterson, but especially Carson McKenna. After that one, Teal is going to Joker. He gets outputted into P5. He's side by side with McKenna now. But everybody, the rest of these 6, they all end up within 3 seconds of each other after all the Jokers are done, which is pretty insane to see. But it will be Vincent Pichel, first Racecraft Rallycross start, and he's going to walk away with an LCQ victory.
Yeah, good for Vincent Pichel getting in here on his first start. He's been racing rallycross and dirt road racing for a while, Josh. He's getting pretty quick, but certainly putting on display here, getting that LCQ win.
That'll push him into the feature. Russell Peterson, Dario Franco, Carson McKenna, Trevor Teal, and Hector Sierra Jr. will advance into the feature race. Only Robert Kirtley will be eliminated after tonight's heat races and LCQs. But that will do it for all of the provisional races before we get started with our feature race. And this is going to be a really intense one, I think, Ian, because we've already seen this track is giving a lot of curveballs to these drivers, and that Joker lane strategy, I don't think we're going to see too much of it in the RX2 feature. I think we're really going to see it come into play in RX1, but it is something these drivers need to be thinking about, and it seems like the Joker lane re-entries also need to be thought about, just like they were at Knock Hill 1 week ago.
Well, the merge in Atlanta here from the regular track and the Joker is always a point of chaos, and you can see how hard it is from those onboard cameras to see out to the left what's coming at you, because it's more than a 90-degree angle actually going back towards the track. So very hard if you're the driver coming out of the Joker to see what's going on in front of you, but also at the same time, it's your responsibility as the Jokering driver to ensure that safe merge. So it's really a catch-22 situation you have here at Atlanta, and that's why you see all this carnage kind of happening in front of us. What I'm actually excited to see here in this race, Josh, is what Carson McKenna is going to do. He hasn't really found himself mid-pack in a feature race so far this season. And I wouldn't say that so far tonight he's struggled in the pack, but you can see what being back in the pack does to any driver, no matter how talented they are. Rallycross is so chaotic, anything can happen, especially in these feature races.
Rallycross is one of the most chaotic forms of racing, and we see that every time that we go racing in Racecraft Rallycross. Remember that after the RX2 feature, we will still have more on the way, because we will have RX1 and some of the best of iRacing Rallycross go head-to-head in RX1 each and every week. So you're going to want to be here for that one. And it starts just a couple minutes after the conclusion of the RX2 feature. That race session is going to be going up here relatively shortly as well. So we'll be able to bring you directly into RX2 action right after our RX2 feature. But warm-up time has concluded, and it's time to see these drivers in RX2 race head-to-head. For one final time in Season 3, we'll take a look at your feature race starting grid. And on the pole after a heat race number 1 victory, it will be Matthew Lind. Sean Winkler will start to his outside, heat race number 2 victor, with Andrew Howell, Dylan Baldwin, Scott Kerr, and Thomas Grady through to the top 6. And back from there, Vincent Pichel, Russell Peterson, Dario Franco, Carson McKenna, Trevor Teal, and Hector Sierra Jr. will round out your field of RX2 drivers for the RX2 feature race. Full field of 12, ready to go racing for the final time in Season 3, and it has been an intense one for RX2, especially the graduation of not Paul Nikolajczyk, of Zach Knowles up into RX1 this season was amazing to see. And then Carson McKenna joining the likes of Torandre Borison and Connor Berry. But we're ready to go racing for one final time in the feature. We are Green Flag Racing. It's Matthew Lind with a big jump. He's got teammate Dylan Baldwin behind, but Baldwin's going to be stuck 3 wide. So is the Fiesta, Scott Kerr. And as they race their way through the dirt, it's Lind with Winkler and Howell side by side. One driver gets pushed wide in the back. Baldwin and Franco lose a couple of spots. Pichel gets turned into the guardrail and contact and a big pile up off the jump. Baldwin's in it, Franco's in it. But at the front, Matthew Lind with the early lead, but a lot of damage to that Subaru, and a possible slowdown as well as Winkler goes to the inside of Howell, and Winkler to the Joker to take the early lead.
And again, watch that battle between Howell and the 666 and Winkler in the 17. You're watching Winkler on your screen right now. That's the battle for P3 in our championship for RX2, Josh. So something to watch throughout this feature race. Pretty clean start until the drivers got to the jump, and then everything kind of fell apart. Carson McKenna was caught up in that accident too as well, Josh.
Slamming back down to the ground is Sean Winkler as he leads the way with his Joker lane done. Same thing for Tom Grady that sits in 2nd place. Carson McKenna, same thing for him that sits in 3rd. Andrew Howell will be your current net race leader after the Joker lanes. And does he Joker this time by, or does he save it? Oh, big damage to that front end of that car as well. Ian, is that going to affect the temps like we see in the NASCAR Truck Xfinity and Cup cars, or is that kind of just a little bit of damage to add on?
Well, temperatures usually in Rallycross, you can pretty much manage that. You don't have to worry about blowing your engine unless there's severe damage, and he doesn't have that much damage yet. What I would be worried about there, though, Josh, is we see a little bit of contact between Grady and Hector Sierra there, coming over the jump with Teal right behind him. What I would be worried about for Andrew Howell, possible steering damage. That's what I'd be watching for in the 666 machine.
Looks like an issue for Carson McKenna. We'll try and grab a replay here in just a few moments, but as we sit on board with your current battle for 2nd place, and Hector Sierra Jr. falls back a little bit as well. And he'll go to the inside of Trevor Teal through the dirt curve and ends up back on the racetrack. Let's see if we can find out what happened to Carson McKenna, because it was just 1 second. He's running about mid-pack. Next second, he's falling way down the order. So he's working his way through the dirt section here. Where is this incident going to happen? Out of the Joker, is it with Trevor Teal? No, it's not. Oh, one driver on the inside. I think that was Dylan Baldwin. No, it wasn't. Who was that on the inside that just was around on the inside, and McKenna makes the smallest contact and slams into the wall?
It was a KES machine, so it would have maybe been Lindy, I'm assuming, would be possibly the one that he got into it with there. Yeah, it was Lindy, but that's the kind of front-end damage that you have to worry about with your engine right there, Josh. I think that's a done engine for Carson McKenna in the 11 machine. Unfortunate to see his season end like this.
But we'll put about half the race done this time by the start-finish line. And in the lead currently, it is Sean Winkler in the 17. Everybody but 3 drivers have all taken to the Joker lane so far. And Thomas Grady with a 3-second gap now, going to have to try and cover off a lot of time. Pichel now back to 5th after the opening lap incident for him, right about where he's going through now. He has Andrew Howell and Hector Sierra Jr. behind, but he's able to hold off, and that's Matthew Lind up the road as well. He, even after his incident and the contact with McKenna, sits P4.
P4, and really, he's probably struggling with that car a little bit. You see all the damage it has right now, Josh, and you see it's kind of hard for him to keep the speed up in front of Hal and Pichel there. They're kind of bearing down on him right now, but a great battle between these 2 cars coming through the dirt section.
Check back in, of course, with our resident costume man, Trevor Teal. I can't really call him a costume man, though. He only really wears that one suit, and that's it.
He has that costume, so I mean that's more costumes than the average driver would have, though, Josh, I believe. Yeah. So there is that, but a great run for Trevor Teal right now in the 72 car, running in P3. It's been a rough season for Trevor Teal. This is really a year I think that he was looking to break out and maybe get a few wins under his belt, but caught up in a lot of incidents this season, Josh, that really weren't his fault. A rough go for him.
He did grab an LCQ win 1 week ago at Knock Hill, but yeah, I echo that same statement. Definitely not the season Trevor was looking for, but of course the admin of Racecraft Rallycross RX2, so I think any good things happening in the series is heartwarming for Trevor Teal, to say the least. As issue for Scott Kerr, that Ford Fiesta's turned around on the straightaway. He'll fall to P11, and let's see how that Ford Fiesta got turned around. It looks like it might have been contact with Russell Peterson here, as it's Ford versus Subaru off of the dirt. What on earth happened there? Scott Kerr had to get out of the gas and ended up getting pushed wide with understeer, hit the grass, and then hit the wall.
A little bit of mirror driving, I think, is what we were seeing right there, Josh. I think he knew that Peterson was all over him and trying to drive out of that corner as hard as he could. See if he lifts it all here.
Oh, he hit the inside
wall. Taps the wall. Yep, that will do it. And once you catch the grass, it's pretty much game over.
So there was the incident that put Scott Kerr down into 10th place. And another incident. This is going to be Dylan Baldwin and Dario Franco. They got tangled on that straightaway as well here, and let's grab that replay as well.
Yeah, we'll see what happened here. That's really tough for Franco. I think he was trying to make the pass on Baldwin here.
Side by side with these two. Wide again for Baldwin, and Franco nowhere to go in that scenario.
Yeah, and then you can see again right there, just that little bit of contact. It caused a little bit more damage there for Franco, so he's going to have to deal with this the rest of the race, but they're still right on each other, Josh, racing for position.
This is battle for 9th place on the track. Battle for 4th is also on, as it's Andrew Howell versus Matthew Lind. I gotta say, both of these drivers have been two of some of the hardest fighting drivers that we have seen this season, and with 2 to go, Howell's gonna power through it for 4th place.
And Matthew Lynn, give a shout out to, always a very respectful driver as well. If he ever makes any contact with you on the racetrack, if it's not intentional or if he doesn't mean to do it, he always reaches out and gives you a, hey, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. So always great racing with Matthew.
Field working their way through the second to final lap of the season for Racecraft Rallycross RX2. And over the jump comes Sean Winkler. And it will be a white flag. One final lap for season 3 of RX2 as he comes across the start-finish line. Everybody got a second separating the entire field. Nobody except for 2 drivers left to take the Joker. That's Russell Peterson and Andrew Howell. 12 and 13 seconds back. I don't think it's going to be enough to rival with Sean Winkler. It might be enough to rival with Grady or Teal. Let's see.
Good shake up the podium, Josh. I think we might see a little bit of a challenge for the podium here. There's Howell going to the Joker now. We'll see where he comes out. Let's see who's around him.
That's Tom Grady right there. He's going to be in a drag race for 2nd place. Grady with the inside advantage, but checkered flag is going to fly. And winning the final feature race of Season 3 for Racecraft Rallycross RX2. 3rd career feature race win for Sean Winkler.
Sean Winkler, Lindy in 2nd, and it looks like Howell is going to get across the line in 3rd. It's going to be 4th for Tom Grady. That's going to be disheartening for him. It's like, I know Tom Grady was really looking for the podium there, and right in the end, snatched away by the Joker strategy of Andrew Howell.
Carson McKenna wins the championship. Sean Winkler wins the final battle. And we have been promised a stunt by Trevor Teal.
Oh, I think I know what this is. Hey, get out of the way. Get out of the way, Lindy. Come on, move. Oh, yeah, I know what he's
lining up for. He's going to back it up, and you're on board of the 72 Next Level Racing Nitro Circus machine. Hand in the air, he goes for it. Is he going to complete the flip? And he's going to get disconnected.
What an anticlimactic stunt there, Josh, but really perfect timing, like perfectly cut screams right there for like the cut on Teal's stunt.
Well then, I guess he went a little bit too high that the sim was not liking him very much. So, how about let's take a look at the results instead. Sean Winkler grabbing the win of the final feature race of the season. It's Andrew Howell second, Thomas Grady third, Trevor Teal fourth. Russell Peterson is going to round out your top 5. And back from there, it was Matthew Lind, Vincent Pichel, first career start for him, 7th place in the feature and a heat race win. Not too bad. Dario Franco, Hector Sierra Jr., and Dylan Baldwin through to the top 10. And through the rest of the field, Scott Kerr, Carson McKenna, going to round out your full field of drivers that took the green flag in the feature. And we won't waste much time. We'll get into the post-race interviews, and we'll start with your winner of the feature race tonight. It's Sean Winkler. And Sean, beautifully done by you.
Yes!
And it's another feature race win for you. 4th career one, and you got to feel good about it.
Finger guns. Yeah, we're having fun over here. Good to be back talking to you guys. That was awesome.
And great to have you back in the booth as well. And talk about that heat race. You walk away with the heat race number 2 victory. And I know those heat races also are pretty few and far between for you in your career. Only 3 of them. And you get your 4th today. What does it mean to have this much success in the final race of the season as well, just to cap it off really well and secure 3rd place in the championship as well? Congrats on that.
Yes, thank you. That is what I was trying to do. I really just wanted to get 3rd place. I've come so close both seasons before, and we finally put it together, and the stars aligned, and we made it happen today. So I'm super pumped.
Moving forward with Racecraft Rallycross, wherever the next seasons take us, are you going to be battling for that championship? Because, of course, now Carson McKenna is moving up to RX1 with his RX2 championship.
Yeah, thank goodness. I'm ready to maybe challenge for the championship. Who knows who else is going to sign up for this? It's super fun, so we'd love to have more people come race this thing. It's a blast, as you can see.
Well, congratulations again. 4th feature race win of your career and a 1st place finish tonight. Congratulations, Sean.
Thanks a lot.
That was Sean Winkler, your winner of our feature race tonight here from virtual Atlanta. And we'll continue on with the post-race festivities. Let's Ian, you wanted to do this, so I'll give you your champion of RX2, Carson McKenna, standing by with you.
Well, Carson, welcome to the Racecraft TV booth, and congratulations on your RX2 championship. I know it's been a long time coming. You battled for 3 seasons. What does it feel like to finally be at the top of the mountain?
Oh, it feels great. I mean, I thought I always had the pace to win it, but just couldn't get it done the last season, but finally got it done this year.
And what was the difference this year? You've always had the speed, and I know last year Connor Berry kind of came through and took RX2 by storm, and you had to wait for that season to get over. But what was different for you this season, and what was the final thing that you needed to finally break through and get that championship?
Really just running more laps, honestly. Me and Alex Abetti, I shouted him out a couple weeks ago, but he's helped me a ton, really and truly. Squeeze out the last few tenths, whatever it was, per trek I needed. So yeah, he helped me out a ton, really.
Yeah, and it's always good to have those people in your corner, especially when you're trying to progress through the sport. And speaking a little bit about your progression, this RX2 championship comes with a promotion to RX1. What are you looking forward to in RX1, and what are your expectations going into the next season?
I'm just really looking forward to racing all the top guys, Berfoss, Fox, Maines, all them guys, just to be in the same races. Cool in itself.
Well, and I'm sure you'll do absolutely fine once you get to that RX1 ladder. And personally, for me, Carson, I want to congratulate you on this RX2 championship. I've been with you for a long time, and I know how much effort you put into this. So from me and everybody here at Racecraft TV, we just want to say congratulations on your RX2 championship.
Really appreciate it.
And that was your RX2 champion, Carson McKenna. Joshua Lee. Look forward to seeing what he can do in RX1 next season.
And we do have RX1 coming up very, very shortly. So we'll conclude our post-race of RX2 with, of course, the ringleader of this entire group and the, I guess, best dressed. I mean, purely best dressed that we have on Racecraft TV. That is Trevor Teal. And Trevor, I'll start with your race tonight. Not exactly going the way you wanted it to, but a solid finish for you in the feature race as well.
Yeah, I struggled a little bit today. I was really prone to getting slowdowns today, so kind of bit me a little bit, but finished P4 in the feature, so I'm happy with that.
And this season, of course, not really going the way you wanted it to, but an LCQ win and some solid finishes here and there. But being as the admin for RX2, what was this season like for you off of the track and outside of the car?
You know, it was actually pretty good. We have a really good group of guys, and it's not really a chore to run this league, so it makes it a lot easier to do and like want to do better with it. So yeah, Josh and I are really excited with how it's going. Really excited for the future of Racecraft Rallycross.
And of course, that future, I know we can't make any announcements yet, but next season, if you could change anything, what would you change? Of course, you do have the power to do some changes in RX2. Is it going to be a lower iRating cap? What's going to be the next big thing for this series?
I think we put 40 cars on the line.
I don't hate it.
Yeah, I think that would be sick. It'll just become a battle royale.
I'm fully not against this, Ian. What about you?
I'm sorry. I have 40 cars. I lost it at that. I had to mute myself there. Let's just go to Crandon. Let's just every round at Crandon land rush. Let's just do it. Yeah.
Dude, I'm in.
We had Nitro Rallycross going to short course track, so we should send our Rallycross cars there.
I'm in.
I'm about
Racecraft
it. So
one-off special event.
I think we could do plenty. Right. I think we do a full season of short course tracks with Rallycross cars on them. But Trevor, thank you for putting on the suit. A lot of broadcasts you do with me has the suit, and I will definitely send a screenshot to Arjuna and Hugo and everybody that worked iRacing Off-Road Championship Series as well. Congratulations on your finishes this season, and congratulations on another successful season of RX2.
Thank you. Real quick, I just want to say thank you to Nitro Circus and Next Level Racing. Man, Next Level has really hooked me up, so big shout out to them. And big thank you to you guys for making an awesome broadcast all season long. You all rock.
That was Trevor Teal, ringleader of the entire operation for RX2. And that'll do it for our post-race show because, Ian, we don't have a ton of time before we get ready to go racing in the RX1 heat races. So just to finish off on RX2, McKenna the champion. And with that finish, it does go third place to Sean Winkler, fourth place to Andrew Howell. And what a championship it has been for RX2 and so many different winners that we have had this season, from Tyler Campbell to Sim Van Weerld to, of course, Carson McKenna, Paul Mikolajczyk, and of course at the beginning of the season, a domination from Zach Knowles, winning 2 out of the 3 feature races that he started in RX2 this season. This has been a fantastic one for these lower experienced drivers of Racecraft Rallycross.
And it just fantastic parity all season long. Connor Berry came in last year and kind of ran the show for RX2, so it was really hard for anybody to break through, get to victory lane, and really kind of make a name for themselves. Not this season, Josh. A lot of guys made that move up to RX1 when they felt that they were ready, and it really kind of blew open the whole RX2 field for the rest of these drivers. And I think it was really exciting to watch for that reason as well. Some of these guys got their first chance to really step into the limelight.
Well, the RX1 drivers are taking to the track for a bit of warm-up. We will grab a quick break here on Racecraft TV, but do not go anywhere. RX1 is coming up. We already know Jacob Rafos is going to walk away with the championship, but who is going to walk away with the final race of the season? Tune in to find out after this short break, because we're coming back with Racecraft Rallycross RX1 action. It's time for one final feature race for Racecraft Rallycross RX1, and it comes to the virtual Atlanta Motor Speedway. Welcome back to the Racecraft TV booth. Myself, Joshua Lee, alongside Ian Fisher, and this is it, Ian. Final feature race for what has been an electric season of RX1 and what has been Jacob Raffa's domination. I mean, we have seen Jacob Raffas be strong in the past, but we have never seen him in the form that he is this season. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 feature race wins out of the 9 rounds that we have run, and a championship that was locked up at Knock Hill 1 week ago. Jacob Raffas is still the driver to beat in this series.
And Jacob Rafas has had the 2022 probably of anybody's 2022 as far as iRacing on dirt road goes. Josh, he's had that run in the World Championship Series in the Pro 4 trucks. And of course, you mentioned his dominating run here on Racecraft Rallycross with the multiple feature race wins. I don't see any reason for that to change tonight, but I do know that this is Josh Edmondson's best track. So if you see anybody out there that could possibly give a challenge to Jacob Rafas today, it would be his Jim Beaver Esports teammate in Josh Edmondson.
Of course, Josh Fox still trying to solidify second. Connor Parisi and Garrett Maines in a battle for that third spot as well. And of course, the field taking to the track now for qualifying. We'll take another look at this track of the virtual Atlanta Motor Speedway, because this track is very, very unique. And like we saw in RX2, we saw that Joker lane really come into play. But for RX1, and I've seen it in the World Championship, I've seen it in the qualifying series, they use that Joker lane unlike anybody else, unlike any normal driver does. The World Championship competitors want to use it as strategically as they possibly can. And we're going to see that come into play tonight, and that could mean the difference between a feature race win and a loss.
And we touched on it in our track preview at the beginning of the broadcast as well. This track really challenges all the features of being a rallycross driver, and I think it is the most unique opportunity that you have on any of the tracks in the rallycross circuit when you come to Atlanta as far as the Joker goes. You mentioned it. You can pick up as many as 2-3 spots in your Joker strategy if you play it right, and there is a lot of strategy to be played here. It's not one of those tracks where you take it just at the beginning of the race or at the end of the race. You could take it anytime during the race, and as long as it pays dividends for you, it's the right call, Josh.
Field is currently on the track for qualifying as we take you over our race analysis as well. Of course, the same basic structure. Looks like with 18 drivers taking time in qualifying, we are going to have 3 feature races, 3 heat races, with 2 advancing into the feature off of each of those heats, and then possibly 2 LCQs as well, with only 3 drivers advancing from each of those. So we'll put it through still 12 drivers into a 10-lap feature, but 6x incident limit, much less than the 8x of RX2, and an open setup for this series. Gives these drivers a little bit more freedom on what they can do inside of their cars. Of course, a majority of these drivers have either competed at a high level in iRacing Rallycross, or some of them have competed in the World Championship in the past. So we'll see what these drivers can do on this race course. But right now, I think the most interesting thing in Jacob Rafas is not the fastest driver. Josh Edmondson is at the top of the board in qualifying.
I called it. What did I say? Josh
You did call it. You exactly called it.
It's his best track. I do know it. I mean, I know it's his best track. He loves Atlanta. That's why the finale is actually here at Atlanta. It's because it's the track that Josh loves the most. But something we haven't touched on yet for this RX1 feature, Josh, any driver from RX2 that decided to make the jump up to RX1 for next season, they could join this session, race in RX1 today. It looks like, looking down the leaderboard, I think Carson McKenna was the only driver to take advantage of that. But interesting to see what Carson McKenna can do in his RX1 debut here.
This is Alexandra Betty we're watching right now, P10 on the current leaderboard. Rafael Franco, P16, as well as I bet he's going to send it right into the guardrail and be done with his qualifying effort. Now we just wait on Rafael Franco to finish up his laps, and then Like you mentioned, RX2 drivers advancing into RX1. They do get to race tonight. Carson McKenna being one of them. Great to see him here, but the only 2 world championship licenses on the leaderboard of the 2 that are at the top right now. And it's Josh Edmondson and Jacob Rafas. Qualifying wraps up in about 20 seconds in. I know you said Josh Edmondson going to get that race win, but do you think anybody else might be able to hold a candle to him? Because Jacob Rafas is only 12/100ths of a second back.
Jacob Rafas still has a great chance, and we still have a lot of heat races and even an LCQ possibly to get through for all of these drivers. So nothing is quite set in stone. Another driver I would definitely look out for tonight, the 199 of Josh Clogg. You see him P5 on your leaderboard right now. Very fast driver, maybe not as well known as some of these world championship drivers, but definitely can give those guys a run for his money. How these heat races and LCQs shake out, you might see him towards the front of the field in the feature. Can definitely make some waves there.
Well, it is time to get started with our starting grid for heat race number 1. And grabbing that pole position, fastest time in qualifying, Josh Edmondson, and then number 58. Hyokyo Pakala is going to start in second with Josh Clogg. Christian Rafas Lindo rounding out that second row. Alexander Abedi and Aiden Irvine going to round out the top 6. And 9 drivers taking the green flag here in heat race number 1, as we'll only have 2 heat races here with Steve Ainge, Toby Ward, and Zach Blanche. Gonna round out the field, I figured, with 18 drivers, 6, 6, and 6 for 3 heat races. That's what we would run, but looks like no. The iRacing service decided to give us 2 heat races. We're still going to only advance 2 drivers from each of these heat races, so we will have 8 drivers advancing from the LCQs, whether that's 1 or 2, but we're ready to go racing for heat race number 1. It's Josh Edmondson on the pole, and let's go racing for the final time in RX1 this season. Hyokyo Pakala, what a start by the number 92. Is it a bit of carnage? Edmondson goes wide. I bet he's stuck in the middle now. Everybody gets it settled down as they go through the dirt. Up and over the jump, it's Pakala, Clogg, Edmondson, multiple drivers going over the side, and 1 driver up and over, 2 drivers flipping violently. Zach Blanche is one of them, and I believe the other one might have been Christian Rafas Lindo. It was.
Oh, that was complete carnage over the jump as well, Josh. Alexander and Betty actually missed all of that by going around to the side of the jump, but that's going to allow Yuko Pakala to get out to an early lead. Not a great start for the 58 of Josh Edmondson. Kind of finds himself behind the 8 ball in 4th place now.
Zach Blanche has towed it back to the pit lane. He will fall all the way down the timing tower, but what on earth happened with that start? That was a really intense one. As we take a look at the replay, everybody funneling in on the dirt, and then oh my, just contact in the air. This is gonna be one of those rallycross incidents, Ian, that we really can't diagnose what happened, because it's like 5 things happening at once off of the start.
Yeah, you see it all gets jumbled together here, and that's what's going to lead to basically 3 cars making contact in the air, and that's not what you want to do in rallycross. It's so upsetting to your car. And you can see what happens once you get back on the ground. A few cars flipping there, 1 car able to make it through, but definitely shook up the rear end of the field.
Well, Hyokyo Pakala is not clear that much anymore, as Josh Edmondson, Joker lane this time by, goes to the inside to go side by side with the 92. He cannot get that move done. Edmondson looking for one of the few slivers of luck that he has had in Racecraft Rallycross. And I don't say that from a means place. 2 heat race wins, 4 LCQs, and 3 complete seasons of Racecraft Rallycross. Hasn't been the best going for the 58, but he is all over the back bumper of the 92 now, looking for the race lead of Heat 1.
And he is really just giving it to Pakala here. He is all over the bumper, but we've seen how hard it is to pass. A little bit of a bobble to the dirt section there, that long sweeping left-hander. Very easy to make mistakes there. Really easy to make mistakes going into this braking zone as well. This is where the drivers will start the race on the initial start as well. Coming back to the start-finish line here. Over the jump, Josh, got to really control the RPM and the rev limiter over here. And you do want to be up in the air like that. You want your rear wells on the ground first.
Josh Edmondson in second place now, losing a bit of time to Pakala in front. And everybody in this field, other than Clogg, Irvine, and Blanche, have all taken to the Joker lane. Pakala still with a solid lead. Edmondson trying to get it back. Everybody else spread out from here, as here comes Clogg into the Joker. It's not going to be enough for the transfer spots, but you can see the 58 and 92 up the road. So white flag this time by it's going to be these two really in an island of their own, as Josh Clogg just is not close enough to really make anything happen now.
And I think Edmondson knows that right now. That's why you see him not pressing the issue. He knows he's on his way through to the feature race, so new reason right here trying to push the issue on Pakala and possibly cause an incident, Josh.
Final lap of heat race number 1. How bad does Edmondson want this heat race win? He's going to try and use a bit of grass to the inside to get a little bit of added grip, but it's not going to work well. Edmondson with a momentum push through the final corner on the dirt, but it's not going to be enough, and he's going to go around. Edmondson, with a small mistake, has put himself out of the transfer spots, clogged a second, and now Edmondson contact with the Betty for third.
Ooh, and a Betty's, it looks like he's going to get the bumper back to him here, but that's going to give the transfer spot to Josh Clogg. Yuka Pakala is going to be your winner of our first heat race here in RX1. And again, Josh, we see a driver coming out of that transition back to the asphalt section, catching that piece of grass, spinning into the inside wall there.
That is so easy to do, and unfortunately it gets Josh Edmondson at the worst possible time. Last lap, loses the transfer spot. Wow, unbelievable as Pakala and Clogg move through. Abedi, Ward, Ainge, Rafa Lindo, Irvine, and Blanche all will have to fight out of one of, looks like, 2 LCQs tonight, as we will wait for, it looks like, Zach Blanche to finish his race, and he does so now. And we are able to grab a look at your starting grid here for heat race number 2, and it is Jacob Rafas that will start on the pole position. David Schofield, Matthew Feldman, Zach Knowles, the top 4. Daniel Aish with Carson McKenna, top 6. Back from there, it's Reen Soitens, Rafael Franco, and Marcus Palacio. That will round out your grid of drivers. Heat race number 2 here for RX1. And there is that number 13 back on the grid. Your champion of Racecraft Rallycross RX1, Jacob Rafas, looks for more hardware tonight. Second heat of 2, we are racing, and it's Rafas with a beautiful start now. 3 wide as Feldman tries to go up the middle. That's not going to work well. Schofield gets pushed wide. Schofield now falls all the way down. Feldman to second. There was Zach Knowles actually that went for the move 3 wide, and it's going to pay off side by side with Feldman. Feldman inside to turn 1. On the outside, that's Knowles. Knowles is going to give it up, but goes back to the inside. Contact with Feldman. They both go spinning.
Oh, Feldman got the turtle curve but just couldn't hang on to it there and got into Knowles. No real fault to each driver there. Maybe a little bit to Feldman for losing control, but he wasn't trying to do that. Just kind of got a little bit lost. Well, that's happening now, Josh. Jakob Rafas almost has lapped the field at this point.
And Rafas goes way wide in that final dirt corner, using a bit of the grass to his advantage. That was a very intense battle for all about 5 seconds for the Zach Knowles and Matthew Feldman bunch. Feldman got pushed into the corner wide, and oh my, that's a big hit for Knowles and Feldman. Another replay, another angle. I don't know if there was a touch of the handbrake in, or if he just completely misjudged that corner, but Feldman was already drifting. No contact even made.
Yeah, and you can run your brake bias a little bit to the rear here, and we'll see if we can see anything that happens there. Yeah, just kind of the back end steps out on him there, and then when you see he comes back across trying to save it, and that's when the contact with Knowles happens. Really unfortunate for both drivers. They're battling hard for that spot, Josh. 2 very talented drivers. That would have been fun to watch.
That was, yeah, no touch of the handbrake, not even any contact, and that led to the incident with Feldman and Knowles. Jacob Rafas in the lead, where he has been all season long, and he continues to pull away to a margin now in this heat race of 3.5 seconds. So we're speaking to Jacob this season, and he has had so much success because he puts in so much time, and with no season of the World Championship this year, this really has been his passion project, and with a new sponsor, Apex Gaming PCs on the side as well. I mean, this has been a golden season for Jacob Rafas and his 13 car.
It's really awesome to see for Jacob. I mean, really, the sky is the limit for him when it comes to sim racing. He's already at a young age with such a great team with Jim Beaver Esports, and he's almost one of the cornerstones of this program, Josh, over there that they have with all the dirt racing that they do. So really just, like I said, the sky's the limit for him, and he's going to continue to get better. That's kind of the scary thing.
Rafas currently in the top spot as he continues to fight on. White flag this time by everybody except for Marcus Palacio has taken to the Joker lane, so it's really going to be a battle now between Soitens and Franco. If Franco is even able to catch up to him really at this point, because as they take the white flag, half a second gap between these two on board with Rafael Franco in the number 36. I don't know if he's going to have enough time.
No, he's not going to have enough time, and obviously already taken the Joker lap here, so it's going to really just need to be a mistake from Sorens if anything's going to happen to give Franco that final transfer spot, Josh.
Franco still on board with the number 36 as he fights from third. Oh, contact from behind. He gets slammed out of the way by Schofield, who's in a battle with Aish. They got Matthew Feldman behind them as well, as Reen Soitens is going to pull away for the transfer. Pretty easy to see who's at the front of the field. It's another Jim Beaver Esports number 13. It's another heat race number 1 win for Jacob Rafas. 15 heat race wins in his Racecraft Rallycross career now.
Has he ever lost a heat race, Josh? That's my
I believe
question.
he has.
Really?
I believe he won his first ever LCQ last week in Knock Hill, if I'm mistaken.
Oh, that's right. It was last week. Yeah. So look at that, recent. But yeah, that's impressive, that run of heat race wins. And you mentioned it, the first heat race too, because usually you see Jacob on the pole position as well.
Jacob Rafas moves his way to the feature along with Reen Soitens. It will be 2 LCQs. We get ready for LCQ number 1 now with starting grid looking as the following: Josh Edmondson, Alexander Abetti, top 2 with Toby Ward, Steve Ainge, Christian Rafas Lindo, Aiden Irving, the top 6. And running at the field, it will be Zach Blanche, 7th place on the starting grid. And we'll see who's going to walk away with this LCQ number 1 victory as the full field takes to the starting grid, and we are ready to go. 2 more races left before that feature, and we are underway for LCQ number 1. Edmondson inside, Abetti outside as they race their way down into the opening corner. Abetti and Edmondson gonna make contact. Abetti's gonna go around middle of the course and run into 2 Fiestas in the meantime, and around they both go. Rafas Lindo has to tow back to the pit lane, but in front is Edmondson with Zach Blanche and Steve Ainge now behind. Taking the top 4 from this LCQ. And our timing will update here in a moment as Rafas Lindo in the pits. There goes Edmondson by them both. Aiden Irvine has to tow it back as well. But Blanche and Ainge gonna join Edmondson into the Joker. Back from there, the only 2 drivers left on the track is going to be Toby Ward and Alexander Abetti, who still need the Joker, but top 3 getting it out of the way. Top 4 will advance into the feature race.
Yeah, and really, if you're those drivers in the back of the pack that were caught up in that incident, I think you got to take your Joker lap as soon as you can and try to whittle down that gap. But that really blew a huge hole in our field, and really it's going to make it easy for these top 3 drivers to hang on.
Josh Edmondson leads the way. He's looking for another LCQ win. Edmondson, in his career, has 4 LCQ wins, the most of his tenure. And I believe, just taking a quick look at the RX1 stats, yeah, he has won the most LCQs out of anybody in RX1 history at 4. And he'd extend it if he wins this one at 5.
It never seems to come easy for Josh Edmondson. Really, it never seems to come easy for any admins of Racecraft Rallycross in their own series. Honestly, he usually has to battle his way through the LCQ like this, and it's such an interesting dynamic as a driver. Once you win an LCQ, you're ecstatic about that, obviously. You have to mentally prepare for a middle-of-the-pack start right after that, Josh.
Halfway done with this feature, or with this LCQ, or on the way to the feature with Steve Ainge and Zach Blanche, 2nd and 3rd, with both of them now running a bit off the pace of Josh Edmondson as Alexander Abetti back back on the track, and Joker's here. It's only going to be good enough for fourth, but that is within the transfer spots. Toby Ward, still no Joker lane for that Ford Fiesta. He's going to try and take it here with 2 laps to go. And Edmondson out in front, looking for a relatively clean and easy LCQ victory here. And in this next LCQ is also going to be very interesting because we're going to take another 4 through. So Edmondson's going to look to start P7 for that, or P5 actually, for that feature race. We only took 2 from the heat races, so these LCQ wins and the positions they gain are going to be worth a lot more than normal, Ian.
Oh, absolutely. And that's really what you got to pay attention to. If you're a driver, even if you're there in one of the transfer spots, you don't want to let that position go easily, because those starting spot grids, you see it, Josh, especially the cars you've had in Atlanta here tonight. You really want to survive that initial start and then run your race.
Final lap for Edmondson in front. Zach Blanche, Steve Ainge, Alexander Abetti, the current top 4. Final time through the banked dirt corner for Edmondson in this LCQ. Everybody spread out now in this group, and has been really since that opening lap incident that has kind of broken this entire pack up and pushed Christian Lindo, unfortunately, into the pits and out of this event as Edmondson brings his way through the final couple of corners. Toby Ward, last lap Joker, is going to push Abetti outside of the transfer spots, and Josh Edmondson grabs the grab the LCQ number 1 win.
Yeah, it's got to sting if you're Alex Abetti. You started on the outside of the front row and a little bit of contact there heading into turn 1. Thought you had yourself with the final transfer position, but you see him coming across the line now. He'll be the first driver out from this LCQ.
Aiden Irvine did also come back onto the racetrack. He will finish his race with a 6th place finish. Edmondson, Blanche, Ainge, and Ward move their way through. Abetti eliminated. Pretty surprising to see, with Aiden Irvine and Christian Lindo also going to be eliminated out of LCQ number 1. LCQ number 2 starting grid. And this will have Rafael Franco, David Schofield, Daniel Aish, Matthew Feldman, Marcus Palacio, and Zach Knowles, the top 6. Carson McKenna will start P7. His first venture into RX1, Ian. I think he's finding out the hard way why these drivers are some of the best at iRacing Rallycross.
Well, Carson McKenna is elite at the RX2 level. There's no doubt about that, Josh. But once you make that step up to RX2, it's just a whole nother animal.
Drivers on the revs, ready to go racing for LCQ number 2. Green light is on, and Rafael Franco grabs the lead. David Schofield now on the inside. Now make that outside, around the outside for the lead, and to the inside goes Franco, and he's going to be immediately sent back to the pit lane as Feldman and Schofield come together off the jump. Feldman to the lead, Danny Aish to second.
And what a start by Zach Knowles. Ran around the outside, Josh, on the initial start, was able to make the outside line work on the turn. Now finds himself in P3 right behind Daniel Aish.
3 drivers, all at the front, are going to take their way to the Joker. Matthew Feldman, Danny Aish, Zach Knowles, and Carson McKenna, all Joker at the first possible opportunity. So top 4, all of the transfer spots have Joker now. That leaves Palacio, Schofield, and Franco needing to Joker. And it looks like with Franco in the pits as well, it'll only leave Palacio and Schofield to use the Joker lane with 4 laps still remaining.
And Knowles had a little bit of a moment coming out of the Joker lap last time around there, Josh, and it's been allowed Carson McKenna to get all the way up on him, and Feldman hits the wall. Feldman hits the wall in the fishbowl there. That's not going to help him at all.
Matthew Feldman in the lead still. Danny Aish in second. The battle is with Knowles and McKenna 3rd and 4th. And Knowles holding on well to that 3rd spot. And it is rather ceremonious, Ian, to have Knowles and McKenna close together on the racetrack as the 2 RX2 graduates of this season. And Knowles, the championship favorite before he got graduated up. And now Carson McKenna, the RX2 champion.
Yeah, a little bit of a, I wouldn't say a passing of the torch, but maybe the next step on the relay here with these 2 drivers, and you can see how close they are in speed and skill. Right over here, just battling for this final podium spot in the 2nd LCQ, Josh.
3 laps to go, 2 to go at the line. Schofield through the final corner. I believe he just jokered, and Palacio just went around at the dirt curve, and he's still trying to get good going there. But Matthew Feldman with the lead. He is going to look for his first ever win of any kind in RX1 and a Racecraft Rallycross in general, it looks like as well. He has never gone to victory lane in Racecraft Rallycross, and he's looking to do it in the LCQ and give him a spot into the feature. And Carson McKenna with 2 seconds over David Schofield, also looking to advance into his first ever feature race for RX1.
Yeah, and give a shout out to Matt Feldman there. I thought that front end damage was really going to do a lot more to that machine than it has been so far, but 12 still looking good. Good to see the iDrive sim colors out there on the racetrack, Josh. That was actually my first sponsor in Rallycross, so good to see another iDrive sim machine out there on the track.
White flag this time by the start finish line. As we focus on Danny Aish, there's Matthew Feldman at the front of the field in the number 12. White flag is in the air, getting ready for the feature race. Of course, we put through 4 more from this LCQ. And through the dirt curve again for the 12. Nobody really left to take to the Joker. That is in this lead group especially. 5 drivers remain on the racetrack. Schofield's getting close to McKenna. Does McKenna have enough pace to hold off David Schofield to get the final spot into the feature? Through the final corner, however, it'll be Matthew Feldman that is going to walk away with the win of LCQ number 2. It's Danny Aish and Zach Knowles. Can McKenna beat Schofield? The 20 was close. McKenna will advance into the feature race off of LCQ 2.
And look at that. One RX1 race for Carson McKenna makes his first RX1 feature after running all this season in RX2. So really good to see from Carson McKenna there, and an Australian top 2 for our our LCQ results here, Josh.
Matthew Feldman with the win. Danny Aish, Zach Knowles, and Carson McKenna advance into the feature. Schofield, Palacio, and Franco, unfortunately, have been eliminated now. The field takes to the track for the warm-up as we lead in to the final feature race of the season. This is going to be an intense one. Everybody wants the final checkered flag of the season, and now in RX1, it's about to happen.
Oh yeah, no points on the line as well. We already know who our champion is, so nobody here is worrying about taking it easy because of points. Everybody's just gunning for the win here tonight, Josh. We've already seen carnage in the RX2 feature. We've seen it here even in our RX1 features, heats and LCQs. So this feature should be something to watch for the last one of the season for sure.
And with less than a minute left in warm-up, field to get ready to take to the grid, but Ian is still sticking with the Josh Edmondson story. He starts P5. He's going to have to gain his way through a little bit of traffic, though.
Well, I kind of talked about that when we were in the LCQ that Josh happened to win, is that, yes, you win the LCQ and that gives you a huge boost of confidence, but P5 in that starting position is usually in the middle of the pack. I think you have 1 car on either side of you here in Atlanta in that starting spot, so it's going to be a really tough start from Josh Edmondson. He's really got to make that first turn work well, and I think an early Joker lap is key for the 58 car if he's going to win tonight.
20 seconds left on the warm-up clock, and this is the final feature race of RX1, the Racecraft Rallycross for Season 3. This season has been one for the history books. Jacob Rafos, the champion, is going to look for one final feature race win tonight. We are ready for the final feature race of Season 3 for Racecraft Rallycross. Who's going to walk away with the final checkered flag? Warm-up clock expires. Field will take to the starting grid. And let's see where they will all be lining up. Yoiko Pakala, his first Racecraft Rallycross start, his first heat race win. He starts on the pole. Jacob Rafos in second. Josh Glog, Reen Soitens third and fourth. Josh Edmondson, Matthew Feldman fifth and sixth. Zach Blanche, Danny Aish, Steve Ainge, Zach Knowles, Toby Ward, and Carson McKenna through the rest of the field. as we are ready to go racing. The lights go green. We are underway. The final feature race of the season, and Yoko Pakala is already behind off the start. Into turn number 1, it's Jacob Rafas that is going to lead the way through the first dirt corner and up and over the jump for the first time. Everybody looks for real estate, but it's all going to be Jacob Rafas now in the lead. A little bit of scrapping further back, but nobody gets into trouble. We stay clean off the start with Yoko Pakala trying to catch up to the lead, and Feldman about to go around off the nose of Edmondson again.
Oh, a little bit of a touch from Edmondson there, but just quite enough to keep on to a great job there by Feldman to hang on to that 12 machine. Jakob Rafas out to the early lead here. You see now on the screen, we got a little bit of trouble back in the fishbowl at the back of the pack, Josh.
Jacob Rafas, another early joker. He grabs the lead with Feldman and McKenna coming together. Zach Knowles with a slowdown, goes wide to serve it. Toby Ward into second place, Zach Blanche into third. We'll see as they come across the finish line who took the joker last time by and who did not. Ward jokered, Blanche jokered, Steve Ainge jokered, so did Zach Knowles. He also got a slow down, so that pushes him a little bit further back. But Yoko Pakala has not jokered, so 6th on back. Still drivers that need to take to the joker. Pakala's going to do it this time. He's going to pull up on par with Jacob Rafas. No, he does not. He pulls up about 8/10 back from the Finn in the lead.
But I think if you're Yoko Pakala there, that's about the best case scenario that you're hoping for. You got out back in front of the rest of the field before they were able to catch up to you. Now you just got to worry about running down Rafas if you can, if you're the 92 car.
I called Jacob Rafas a Finn. He is not. He's a Scandinavian at the front of the field. But Pakala to second place. I got one half. I just said on the wrong driver. So Pakala into second place. Soitens to third as well, pushes Ward to fourth. Zach Blanche in fifth as well. Now this leaves only 4 drivers left the joker. One of them is Josh Edmondson. And we look on board with the number 58. I'm wondering when he is going to elect to take that joker, because 10-second gap to the race lead. If he thinks he can gain the time up here in, perfect. Stay on the racetrack. Try and gain as much time. He does have 2 seconds of open track ahead of him, but he needs to think about when he wants to take that joker, especially if he wants this feature race win. He won his LCQ. He was going to win his heat race until he made a mistake coming out of the dirt section on the final lap. We know he has the pace. He just needs to use it.
And I think you made a very good point there, Josh. He has about 2 seconds of open track in front of him, and I think Josh Edmondson realizes that right now. He's in a good spot with his Apex Racing, Next Level Racing Subaru, and so he doesn't really want to risk it by getting himself back into traffic by taking that joker lap too early. So I think in this situation, continue to make up your lap time and then strike with the joker late in the race.
Danny Aish with the joker that time by sends him to fourth and sends him side by side with Rain Soidens into the final corner. Aish is going to get covered off, unfortunately. We go on board with the battle for third. Soidens up ahead of Danny Aish, the Australian, who we're on board with now. 3/10 now separate the two as they cross the line, 6 to go.
And that's what happens when you can mistime your joker strategy just by the slightest bit. I'm sure that Aish thought he was going to be ahead of Soitens there after he came out of the joker. Now he finds himself behind Soitens, and I think he's slowing him down a little bit here, Josh.
Aish needs to find a way by. How is he going to do it is the question. He might have a little bit of momentum here, trying to get to the inside line through the dirt. Very difficult to do that quick turn of direction like he could do on the asphalt. Battle for fourth is going to stay the way of Soitens, but this time by the start-finish line, halfway done with the final feature race of the Racecraft Rallycross season, and it will be Jacob Rafas that is going to lead the way across the finish line. 1.7 seconds back is Yoko Pakala, which for his first start here at Racecraft Rallycross is doing fantastic at the front of the field right now.
Yeah, and Rallycross, of course, is known to be dominated by the Scandinavian drivers, the Finns and the Norwegian drivers, and we see 2 of them in the top of our field right now with Rafas and Pakala, respectively. Edmondson took the joker last time by, finds himself in the 3rd spot, but I don't know if he's got enough pace to catch up to Pakala, especially not enough pace to catch up to Rafas right now, Josh.
Just about everybody in the field, other than Josh Klog, who unfortunately had to tow his way back to the pit lane on lap number 2, has taken to their joker lanes as Edmondson ends up 3rd off of his. Let's see what happened to Josh Clog. It looked like a very peculiar incident because 1 second, Clog's running just fine. Next second, he has towed his way back to the pit lane. Let's see what happened to the 199. Same mistake we've seen tonight. No, ends up on the asphalt fine. He blew the motor in.
Yeah, the front end damage you can see right there. I mentioned earlier, it's not something you have to worry about too much usually, but with that much front end damage, you see the engine expire there on the 199 machine.
So unfortunate for Josh Clog. I mean, another one of the drivers that cannot buy a shred of luck whenever he's competing. Because I remember back to the iRacing Rallycross World Championship qualifying series from 2021, 1 point separated Josh Clog and a qualifying spot in the World Championship.
1 point, and there was a little bit of car contact that led to him losing that 1 point too, Josh.
Yep.
So very sour for the 199 machine. I want to give a shout out to Josh Clog. He's been actually a huge coach of mine throughout my rallycross career. So I've watched him for multiple years now and followed him, and yeah, just never seems to be able to catch that final break he needs.
On board now with Zach Knowles as he holds off Zach Blanche behind him. Through the dirt curve and back through the dirt section of turn 6. This is going to be all Zach Knowles on this run down into the final corner. As 2 to go, Jacob Rafos will take that spot, and side by side now it's Steve Ainge versus Carson McKenna. Drag race Fiesta versus Subaru into the dirt again.
And Ainge had the inside there. Carson McKenna very good at running that outside line there and kind of cutting it back off, but not able to get it done that time, it looks like.
And McKenna with a solid gap now. You have to look back to find Steve Ainge. And 2 laps to go. And Rafos down the asphalt straight away and into the final couple of corners for the second to last time. A beautiful season for Jacob Rafos this season. I mean, not only the championship, that's great and all, but his win list, he now has with his heat race win tonight, and with this feature race win, will reach 25 total wins across RX1 and across all 3 seasons. None of those coming in LCQs. All of them in heats, all of them in features. And he has been unstoppable in season 3. He's only been down a few times, but he was never out. And through the final couple of corners, the young phenom in the iRacing Rallycross World Championship last season is the young champion in season 3, and he wins the final race. Jacob Rafos back to victory lane now, and for the 10th time in a feature race of Racecraft Rallycross.
Yeah, and we see the onboard with Rafos now. It looks like, look at that, Josh. He's been there before. He's doing the burnouts and everything like that, but you don't see that much emotion out of Jacob Rafos. All business for him. Just another day in the office for the young Norwegian. I almost called him a Finn there too.
What a run for Jacob Rafos, not only tonight, but in this season of Racecraft Rallycross. By the way, last lap, best lap, 44.717 the lap time. Insane numbers for Jacob Rafos, and he grabs the final feature race win of the season. Yoko Pakala in second with Josh Edmondson, Danny Aish, and Reen Soitens. The top 5, Zach Blanche, Toby Ward, Zach Knowles, Carson McKenna, and Steve Ainge rounding out your top 10. And rounding out the field, it was Matthew Feldman, and unfortunately Josh Clog running into a bit of a mistake early on in the race. He ends up 8 laps down at the end of this one. So, as we wait for the drivers to get here for the post-race interviews in another season of Racecraft Rallycross over and down. And for RX1, it has been a who's who of names for champions. Garrett Maines in Season 1, Connor Parisi Season 2, and now Jacob Rafos in Season 3.
Yeah, and really well-deserved for Jacob Rafos. You mentioned, and we talked about it all night long, of how dominant of a season he's had all year long, and really no surprise to see him here, the championship winner, and then also your winner here tonight from Atlanta. And you watch these lap times and you watch these features, Josh, and these are the best drivers in the world. Like, that's not even an exaggeration. These are some of the best rallycross drivers in the entire world on iRacing, and Jakob Rafos still manages to beat these guys by seconds, multiple seconds, 3 or 4 seconds every single race, Josh. It really is incredible.
Let's not waste any time by getting talking with your Season 3 champion, but we focused on that last week. We'll focus on his feature race win tonight for Jacob Rafos. And Jacob, 10 feature race wins now for you in Racecraft Rallycross. What does it mean for 10 across these 3 seasons, with, I believe, 5 of them coming, or now 6 of them coming in this season?
What can I say? It's just perfect. I don't. it can't be more perfect than this. 6 out of 10 wins. It's it's really good.
And coming into this season, of course, with no iRacing Rallycross World Championship in 2022, this was kind of the main focus for a lot of you, and a place to kind of keep your craft sharp for when that Rallycross World Championship hopefully comes back in the future. So what does it mean to win against some of your peers that you raced against in the World Championship? You raced against Garrett Maines this season, of course, and almost an entire season racing against Josh Klog, and very familiar names in the qualifying series and the World Championship.
Yeah, it means a lot to race against these guys. Hopefully there can be a world championship anytime soon in Rallycross, because I really want to try it. But yeah, now the trucks it's really fun to drive these also. It's just a blast driving both of the series, trucks and Rallycross. And yeah, driving against the world championship guys is just, Garrett Maines and Connor, and Adam for sure. They're fast. So yeah, the series has been really good this year.
Well, congratulations again. You're walking away with the championship, Jacob. Season 3 champion. You add your name to 2 that you just said. Garrett Maines and Connor Parisi, the first 2 champions of RX1, and now you are Season 3's champion. Congratulations.
Thanks. And I'd like to thank Apex Gaming PCs and Jim B. Esports and Josh Edmondson for all the stuff he does. He's always there helping. If it's set up or something, it's always there. And all to Connor and yeah.
And a big congratulations once again on your championship. And that is Jacob Rafos, champion for Racecraft Rallycross RX1. And Ian, we continue on. 3rd place finish and another podium for Josh Edmondson. You're standing by with him.
Well, Josh, welcome to the Racecraft TV booth. And I got to start off with first an apology. I think I might have jinxed you a little bit on this one. You were my call to win the race tonight, and you were looking so good in that first heat race. Unfortunately, caught the grass there coming through the final lap, but put yourself in P5 for the future. What is it like starting in the middle of the pack like that in one of these races?
It's hectic, and it's what I did to myself in that heat race anyway by spinning the wheels off the start, and then so I was put 3 wide, and then you're just, in with everybody else, and everybody always hits in that first corner or couple there. So yeah, unfortunately I didn't get out of turn 1 or turn 2 without wheel damage in all 3 of those races tonight. It's just pretty unfortunate because I feel like I had the speed to win.
Well, and you mentioned even contact in the feature race going in the turn 1 there, and you kind of fought it off well. Found yourself in a position where you were in clean air. We didn't take you see your Joker as early as we thought you may have. What was your thought process there with your Joker strategy in the feature race?
Just to try and make up some time on the front guys, because I knew that they jokered right away and we had those issues and holdups, and I had to adjust to my steering damage a little bit and get used to that. So I wanted to just have some clean air to put in some faster laps, hopefully, to catch those guys. So when I jokered, I was a little closer. But yeah, unfortunately, just wasn't close enough to get second. Jacob was gone with a clean start, so not much I could have done about that. But I'm happy with a podium. It's my 3rd podium in a row, and I guess it's a good way to end the season.
I was going to say, a podium to end the season is never anything to complain about, but looking forward to next year, what are your goals, not only for yourself personally, but just here for Racecraft Rallycross as far as the RX1 division goes?
Well, hopefully just get more of the top guys to do it. I'm going to talk around, maybe it'll be something where we got to try and get some money together to get in the rest of the other top guys. I mean, we were really stacked here with some of the best drivers for many rounds. It was tough for everybody to make all the rounds. I know Josh Fox and a few others had to miss today. So, just maybe try and work out a schedule that works for everybody, and just maybe even get a prize payout. I think that'd be cool.
And a prize payout would certainly incentivize, I'm sure, a lot of those top level drivers, both Joshes, I guess. But Josh Edmondson, your third place finisher here tonight. Thanks for coming and taking some time to talk to us here in the booth, Josh.
Yep, thank you. And I just got to shout out everybody else on the team, Jim Beaver Esports, Jacob, congrats on the title, Connor Parisi, and those guys that worked on sets and stuff together. And then all the sponsors, Next Level Racing, Apex Gaming PCs, Pimax VR, General Tire, Vision Wheel, and Rigid Industries.
And we appreciate you very much. That was Josh Edmondson, your third place finisher here tonight from Atlanta, Joshua Lee.
And great to hear from him and Jacob Rafoss, and unfortunately not being able to hear from Yoiko Apocalypse. Not the best English, so we'll let him skip the interview. Perfectly okay. But in finishing off this season, what an amazing one it was. And we finish off a third season of Racecraft Rallycross, and I gotta say, I'm very excited for what season 4 in the future holds, because I feel like we were just getting ramped up in this season, and all of a sudden it's just over and done.
Well, like I said, the parity in RX2, and especially in the latter half of the season after some drivers moved up to RX1, was just absolutely fantastic, Josh. You went into every single week not knowing who was going to win, who was going to be the fastest driver, saw a few first-time winners. I remember back to Russell Peterson, just the emotion that we saw in his face, not only from winning the heat race, but also winning the feature race. That was really cool to see. So excited to see some of these guys in RX2 for next season really break out and get on the podium finally for the first time in their careers, but also in RX1. Can Jacob Rafoss continue this domination? Will somebody be able to challenge the young Norwegian for anything that's out there, Josh? I don't know if we'll be able to see it, but that's what I'm looking forward to next season for sure.
And we hope that you'll join us in the next season of Racecraft Rallycross. We'll have schedule announcements coming very, very soon for it. So watch the Racecraft TV social media channels for all of those. And of course, tune in to Racecraft TV Friday nights. We still have the NASCAR Triple M Pulling Truck Series. A brand new season of the Virtual Off-Road Racing Series is coming up. And our first ever Dirt Oval Leagues are coming up as well in the very near future. So stay tuned in to Racecraft TV and stay tuned in to our social media pages to see when all of those are happening. For everybody at Racecraft Rallycross, for Trevor Teal, Josh Edmondson, and for my colleague in the booth, Ian Fisher, and of course I've had Dane Baird in with me in the booth for all season long as well. My name is Joshua Lee. Thank you for tuning in to the final round of Racecraft Rallycross. We'll see you in season 4.